Hello, welcome to the B.ScIT MSCIT question and answer series. Myself Guru, and today we are going to take a topic from B.ScIT question paper, that is write a note on jumps in loops and illustrate the use of jump statements with a program. This was a question was asked in the March 2010 for 6 marks. If you have any doubts or any queries regarding this topic, do mail me at gurumatrix2004@gmail.com. So let's start with our session now. So before we get into the topic, let's understand loops. What are loops basically? So let me explain you about the loops uh, in short and simple way. So let me open up my Microsoft Paint. Oh, yes. So let me give this as a start point and this as end point. Let's say this is the starting point and this is the ending point. So loops means if anything happens repeatedly, let's say you have started from here and you ended here, then again you go back to the starting point, again you started here, again you ended here, again you gone into the starting point, again you started from there, again you ended here, again went back to the starting point, again the same thing. So loops are nothing but to do some task repeatedly. In simple words, our loops are nothing but to do the repeated task. The same way, the same thing applies in the programming also. For example, let me just show you. Let's suppose this is a block of code. Let's say let's display something using C# console.writeLine. Hello Mr. X. Now this, let's suppose you want to display repeatedly, again and again for let's say n number of times, or let's say for 10 times. If you want to do that, if you want to execute this block of code, I mean to say, if you want to display this console.writeLine repeatedly for n number of times, for 10 times or for 100 times, for 1000 times, any number of times, as per your requirement. If you want to do that, then definitely you need to use loops in your programming. So let me repeat it again. If you want to perform any repeated task, then we use loops. Loops are nothing but they perform the repeated task in the programming. If we want to execute a block of code, a set of code repeatedly again and again, then we use loops. So yes, so this is everything is about the loops. So for doing the looping, we use a for loop or for each loop, while loop, or do while loop. In C#, loops are presented in 4 different ways, that is for loop, for each loop, while loop, do while loop. So for loop is different from for each loop, and for each loop is different from while loop, do while loop, for loop. Every loop has its own speciality. So depending upon our requirement, we can use any one out of this, out of this 4 loops. So let me repeat it again. In C# we have 4 types of loops, that is for loop, for each loop, and while loop, and do while loop. So if you want to perform a repeated task, or if you want to repeat a set of code or block of code n number of times, then you can use this loops. Okay, now let's go back to our topic. So yes, so this is everything is about the loops. Okay, till now you have understood the loops and the types of loops in C sharp. Now let's understood jumps in loops. So what are jumps in loops basically? So let me just show you. Let's suppose you are at point A, and this is point B, and this is point C. Okay, if you want to jump from A to C directly, then you need to use a jump statement in your program. So basically, in simple words, jump statements are the simple command which transfers the control of a program to the another statement of the line. So let's suppose if you want to uh, jump directly from A to B, then A to C, then you need to use jump statements. Okay, so this is about the jumps. This is all about the jumps. Now let's see the different types of jump statements are there in C sharp. So different types of jump statements in C sharp is break, continue, go to. These are the three commands, that is break, continue, go to, are the statements are used in loops. If you want to use jump statements in loops, then you need to use one of these commands, that is break, continue, or go to. So these are types of jump statements in loops, or these are types of jump statements in C sharp. Now let's see these jump statements one by one. So first we are going to start with the first jump statement, that is break. So break, so as you know that break is a jump statement, and what the break statement does is it stops and or suspends the current loop from looping further. Okay, and passes that control to the another statement which is there outside the loop. Let me repeat it again. Break statement stops or suspends the current loop from looping further and passes the control of the statement to the another statement which is there outside the loop. So what it means is, let's suppose this is the loop, and if the break is applied here, if the break statement is applied here, then it terminates the current loop from looping further and passes the control to the another statement which is outside the loop. So in simple word, what the break statement does is it stops or suspends or terminate the current loop from looping further, or let's say to iterate further, and passes the control to the another statement, but not inside the loop but outside the loop. So this is what the break does is. Now on the same, let's see a real-time example. Let's see a small demonstration on this by using the break. So in this demonstration, what we do, we will use console.writeLine as our demonstration application. Okay, and we will code something by using the loops, and we will use the break statement there, and let's see how the break does in real time. Let's see some real-time example. Okay, yeah. So let me first start my Visual Studio 2010. So here we go. I'm going to start my Visual Studio 2010. I'm going to select a console application. So I'm going to file new project, and I'm going to select console application for this demonstration. So this is my simple demonstration. Let me give the location path as the desktop. Yeah, and let me give the nice name as demo on loops. So my language is Visual C Sharp and the .NET framework is 4 and my Visual Studio is 2010. So let me just finally say OK, and it is going to create the console application environment here. So as you see that the console application environment has been created with the namespace as demo on loops and a class program uh, with with a output method as static void main. So let me just code here something. So as we are talking about the loops, so let me take up one of the loop of C sharp. So I'm going to use for loop here, to demonstrate a break statement, a break jump statement. So I'm going to code a for loop here. So let me just display some message here before I do anything. So console dot write line, I'm going to print something here. So that is console.write line. Let's say I'm going to print a simple message as printing loop, printing 45 loops. So let me just start with my for loop. For int I is equal to 1, I is, let's say, less than or equal to 45, I plus plus. So this is nothing but the initialization. Int I is equal to 1 and I is less than equal to 45 is a boolean expression, and I plus plus is nothing but the incremented value. So let me first print the 45 loops here, that is console.writeLine, console.writeLine, and printing loop I. So I'm going to print 45 loops here. So it means that I'm going to execute this block of statement repeatedly 45 times, and every time whenever the loop ends, the I value is going to get incremented. So let me check that demonstration. So as you see that I have successfully printed 45 loops, from printing loop 1 to directly 45. So my code is being executed successfully. So now let me use the break statement. How the break statement stops or suspends or terminates the current loop to iterate further. So let me check that. So for that, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to use if condition here. If my I value is equal to 6, let's suppose let's say 6, okay, and I'm going to terminate my for loop by using the break statement. Okay, so here I'm going to write one more statement because I want to transfer the control of this break statement to the another statement, right? Because what the break statement does is it stops the current loop for from looping further and transfer the control to the another statement. So let me just write the another statement as console.writeLine, and let's say loop has been terminated at 5. So this current loop will be terminated at the 5. So means when the value of I is equal to 5, then the current loop is going to get terminated. I'm sorry, when the value of the I is equal to 6, then this loop will be get terminated. So it means this block of statement is not going to execute if the value of I is equal to 6, and the loop is get terminated and passes the control to the another statement which is there outside the loop, that is this statements. So this is just a simple demonstration. Let me just check the output here if it is working or not. As you can see that yes, it is working, means uh, means we want to print the 45 loops, but we use the jump statement, that is break, okay, to break our current loop at 6. So as you see that this loop, for loop, is successfully broken at 5, I mean to say at 6, because the 5 loop has been printed successfully, and after that the loop has been terminated and passes the control to the another statement which is there outside the loop. So this is everything about the break statement. Now let's go and see the another jump statement, that is continue. If you have any doubts, in this code, or in this session, you can mail me, that is gurumatrix2004@gmail.com. Now let's go and see the another jump statement, that is continue. Continue is another jump statement in loops. So what the continue statement does is, the continue statement passes the control to the next iteration, means its job is to terminate the further executing code and passes the control to the next iteration inside the loop only. Means it is not going to terminate the loop, but inside the loop only it is going to skip the code which is there, which is there after the continue statement. So what it does is, it stops the further execution of the code after the continue statement and continues with the next iteration. So let me just show you the demonstration. By showing you the actual demonstration, you will come to know how the continue statement works. So for that, let me go back to my code. As you see that we are going to use the same example as we did for the break statement, that we are going here we are printing the 45 loops. Okay, now in the same code I am going to use the continue statement as a jump statement. So let me just write a continue first here. So continue, okay, and where I want to continue, let's say I want to continue if the value of the I is less than, the value of the I is less than 43, then continue. Or let's say yeah, if the value of the I is less than 43, continue. And I'm just printing the value here, and the loop will be terminated at, let's say, loop will be started at 43. So I'm going to explain you this code. Just see, the for loop is starting from 1 to 45, right? So if the value of the I is 1 and 1 is less than 43, it means it is not going to execute this part of code, inside the loop only. It is not going to execute this code, but what it will do, this continue statement, what it will do, it will passes the control to the next iteration. It means now the value of the I will become 2 here, and again it will come and check here. If 2 is less than equal to 43, yes, the condition is satisfied. Again the continue statement fires, again it passes the control to the next iteration till this value will return false. Till this value, means if the value of the I is 44, then this condition doesn't satisfy, and this message is going to print, means this printing value will be 43, 44, 45. Okay, so it's simple. What the continue statement does is, it will not execute the further code after the continue statement, but it passes the control to the next iteration to continue again inside the loop. So let me just show you the output here. As you see that printing 45 loops, but the loop is been started at 43, 44 and 45, means the loop has started at 43. So this is about the continue statement. Now let's go and see the our last jump statement, that is go to. Our last and final statement, that is go to statement. Before I start the definition, let me just explain you some important points of go to. Go to statement normally starts with the go to keyword followed by a label. This label you can use anywhere in any part of a program, console.write line is high, let's say, and I will say label. You can give your name, any name you can specify, any keyword you can specify here instead of label. So let's suppose if you want to pass the control of go to statement directly to this part of code, then you can use a label here. A label will act as a pointer, and it will tell the go to where to pass the control. So go to followed by go to label, and go to statement will passes the control to the specified labeled statement, go to label statement. So the control will be passed to that statement only which has got a go to label. Means this code will not going to execute, but this code will execute because it has got go to labeled. So let's see a simple demonstration, to get a better understanding on go to, how to use the go to statement in our loops. So for that, let me just say if I is equal to 6, let me give go to let's say B.ScIT. So this is my label, and I am going to say B.ScIT and followed by colon. Please remember, whenever you specify a go to label, you need to specify colon. After that, a statement, whatever statement you want to execute. So this is the jump statement. After when the value of the I is reaches to 6, the go to will skip, or let's say it will stop, or let's say it will terminate the loop, and it will passes that control to the another statement which has got go to label, that is this. So it means after this 6, if when the value of the I reaches to 6, the loop will be skipped, or it will be stopped, or it is terminated, and the control will passes directly to here, and this statement will also not get executed because it has not got go to label. The go to label starts after this statement, so that's why this statement will not get executed, but yes, this statement will execute. So let's run this example. As you can see, my friends, the printing loop is started at 1 2 3 4 5, and after that loop has been terminated and directly passed to the statement which has got go to label. Just see, I have a go to label. So my friends, till now we saw different jump statements, that is break, continue and go to inside the loops, that is for loop. Basically we have taken the for loop as our loop, to show you the different jump statement, that is continue, break and go to. So if you have any doubts and any queries, you can mail me anytime, that is just mail me on gurumatrix2004@gmail.com. And this was the question was asked in the B.ScIT question paper in March 2010 for 6 marks. Thank you friends, have a good day.